Hey there, avid listeners. Thanks again for tuning in to Stin's Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Excuse me today. I'm a bit nasally because it seems I've caught my son's cold. Daycare. It'll always get your kids sick. But in any case, so we're going to be talking about A Comb of Wishes today by Lisa Stringfellow. This is a middle grade debut novel, and it's wonderful because it doesn't really feel like a debut. There have been times where I've read debut novels and I'm like, either the editor dropped the ball on it, or the publisher was just in a rush to get it out because I thought it was so good. But there have been a couple debut novels that I've read that, I feel like debut novels. Honestly, I think most of it's due to editing and, not working as well, the publisher with the author, to flesh out scenes and sequences and sentences. But in the case here, I think it was really well done, I think that Stringfellow did an incredible job with this story because it is inspired by Caribbean folktales on mermaids, but it deals with some pretty heavy themes such as grief and sustainability and love, familial love, friendship. And I think that that's really engaging for the reader. You're reading this story and Keela has just lost her mother a few months ago, and the last words she said to her were, "I hate you," because her mother was, kind of too busy doing work that needed to be done for her job, that she didn't really have enough time to go to the beach like she promised her daughter. It happens. And it was raining and her mother's car slipped off a cliff. It's tragic, especially when you have her last memories with her mother being words of hatred and words of anger. So you really do feel for her character and you're able to connect to her. I think we all, I know me personally, whenever I get into a fight with my mother or if I get into a fight with my husband and they get in the car to go to work or to go run errands, there is this lingering thing. I don't want those words spoken in anger to be the last things I ever say to them. I always want them to know that I love them. I never want my last words to anyone to be words of anger or hatred, and I really do think it says a lot for the characterization that you're able to really empathize with this character. At least I was, and that's what I thought was really groundbreaking for this novel, that Keela finds a magical comb, and the comb is, a mermaid's comb, and in order for the mermaid to get it back, she has to grant a wish. Keela's wish is for her mother to be back. So it's just really wonderful to see her, get the closure that many people do not get with her mother. And there are a lot of ways that the story could have gone wrong. Oh, you're bringing someone back to the dead. Oh dear God, right? No. You don't have to worry about any of those worries I think you're worrying about, because I worried about them. Like, oh dear God, this is going to go horribly wrong. No, in fact, the story's evolution was really well done. I thought it was really well done. I know, sorry, my cough, my congestion is kind of making it hard for me to think straight, even though I'm staring at my notes. I just think it's really great how Stringfellow is talking about grief in this story, because there are two forms of grief. You have Ophidia, she's a mermaid, and she's struggling with her own grief now. She's had decades to deal with her grief, and unfortunately for her, she's, bitter. She's angry. She has a lot of hatred in her, and her grief has isolated her from her fellow mermaids, So for Ophidia, you're seeing that spectrum of grief, how it can blind you, how it can, blind you to the hatred, or it can blind you to recovery. That's it. And it's really sad, It's really sad to see it happen, and to see Ophidio's course take place. And it happens, very, very slowly. Like, you as the reader, you're following Ophidia, you're following Ophidia's memories. Now, she's not remembering everything linearly, but I think that's great. It really allows you as a reader to connect to her characterization. And the way Stringfellow tells her story, she tells it in a form of oral storytelling, which is common among Caribbean islands. I'm part Native American, I'm part Mexican, and I'm very familiar with oral storytelling. It's how you pass down the legends and stories of your people. So it was really beautiful to see that brought to life in paper form, because you are engaging with the story. Whenever she says crick, you say crack. I was reading that out loud. I was just like drawn to it. I know it's supposed to be done orally, and so I thought that was really beautiful how Stringfellow was able to imbue the reader with that sense of community by engaging with the reader. And for Keela, her grief has built this wall of sadness, this wall of guilt, and this wall as well is isolating her from her community. She's really distant from her father, she's very distant from her best friend, she's very distant with her, community as well. And it's a small community, they cater to tourists a lot, so they all kind of know each other, they all get along with one another. And they were all there for her when her mother passed away, but she's let her grief blind her. She's let her grief build this wall between her and her community. So for her to get that closure that she so desperately needs and to move on from it, she doesn't let go of the grief and sadness, but she's learning to recover. And I think that that's something that's important for young readers to understand, that we as parents, we want to shield our kids from everything, and death is always kind of that tough subject when talking to kids, because you don't really know how to say or how to express it to children when someone dies. It's a hard concept, but it is part of life. Death is a part of living. No one is immortal. So I think it is important for us to talk to our kids about death. I think it's also important for us to talk to them about grief and how to handle grief. And I think it was really brilliant how Stringfellow was able to deal with this tough subject. I think it was wonderful, beautiful, how she was able to tackle this subject without being overbearing to the kids. And what she does subtlety with Keela's parents' professions is she's also talking about sustainability. It's there, it doesn't take over the story. It's just kind of there in little bits and pieces, but they're recognizable to you as a reader. And they're teaching moments for kids without, and they don't sound like teaching moments, which I think is also brilliant. She's teaching young readers about sustainability without sounding like she's teaching readers about sustainability. And I thought it was really well done. So overall, I have to give this book 4 out of 5 stars. It's beautiful. It was well written. The way that she engages with the reader by interpreting oral storytelling into print form was just very brilliant and very well done. And I think she really did capture the Caribbean culture in this story. She did capture the Caribbean here. And it sounds genuine. It sounds relatable. And I thought it was, again, wonderful. So, if you want to purchase the book, which I highly recommend, please purchase the book from your local bookseller or online book retailer. All I ask is that you purchase the book from a bookstore versus purchasing it from Amazon. If you go on bookshop.org, they can give you a list of independently owned bookstores nearest you. If it's too far away, purchase on bookshop.org, and a percentage of the sales will go towards the closest independently owned bookstore nearest you. And remember, just because there's no Barnes & Noble or Books A Million in your neighborhood, you can still order from them online. If you're going to do online shopping anyway, bookshop.org, Barnes & Million, Books A Million. Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. Purchase from them. Support your booksellers. And if your excuse is, oh, well, it's cheaper on Amazon, remember, Amazon makes a deal with publishers that ultimately ends up hurting the author because, again, they sell books at a discount. That money goes to the publisher, and then a small percentage of what the publisher gets back goes to the reader. Goes to the author. Versus selling it at list price, the percentage outcome, because publishers getting more money for that sale, more money is going to be going to the author. So if your excuse is it's cheaper on Amazon, if you're really focused on saving money, please go to your local library. Libraries are a great resource for the community, and they're there for you to read and research and learn more. So please support your local libraries, support your local bookstores. On that note, I hope you all will continue to support me here by liking this video, liking this podcast, subscribing to it, and sharing it with all your book-loving friends. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.